Welcome back to the Fit Like Krys podcast. I am sort of page, article, book, quote deep in Mental Health Awareness Month. And I've just been looking at a lot of things and revisiting certain things that I've read in relation to mental health awareness and just becoming more aware of my mental health. I'm thinking about it and I'm sort of a little more attuned to my mental health in its current state. And what I was thinking about this past week, specifically these past couple days, I was thinking about where I've come from. Like, the state of my mental health now. And I was thinking about how we go through certain periods of our life and we deal with it in whatever way we deal with it, and it has an effect on us, and we go on repeat recycle, like that thing that keeps happening in life, right? Like events happen, we deal with it in whatever way we know how or learn how, and then we are impacted by it, and then we keep going. And if we deal with it if we don't deal with it, or we deal with it in sort of like a negative way, a toxic way, we love that word, uh, a way that's not helpful to anybody or anything, including us, or we sort of numb pain or discomfort or loss with, drugs or alcohol, coping mechanisms. Sometimes even being busy could be a coping mechanism, right? Like there are so many things that we do to sort of self-soothe. And I have done all of it, A to Z, the good stuff, the bad stuff, everything in between. And um, I've had a couple bouts of really tough times, more than a couple. I've had so many tough times. It actually seems like sometimes I feel like I'm in a game. Um, and right when I get to get past $200 past go, like right when I get to that point, like someone like steals my hotel, um, I feel like I sort of crawl my way to feeling okay. And then once I feel okay, I don't know if I self-sabotage myself or life, or I don't know. But I have felt in the past. I have felt in the past. I don't feel that way now, but I have felt in the past that the sort of the feeling of taking two steps forward and three steps back. Um, and there's a bunch of different things that have helped me pull through that sort of, it's negative thinking, because if you think that way, you're never going to feel okay. You're always going to feel sort of behind, always comparing what you know about yourself to what you think about other people, right? Like that's the thing about comparison, is that we're comparing to people and places and things that we don't even know. All you can know is yourself. And I have come so far, and on the outside looking in, I don't know how it looks. I feel like I've always been really good at being professional in places that I need to be professional, in showing up and being consistent. And that's often confused with being okay. And because it's Mental Health Awareness Month, I just want to bring awareness to the fact that someone could have everything together and just not be okay at all. In fact, work and being productive was all I had at one point, when I had no reason to wake up. I felt like I had no reason to wake up. There was a moment where I remember vividly sitting in my childhood best friend's bedroom, crying harder than I've ever cried in my life about the fact that I don't have kids, I don't have a family, like I'm just getting divorced. Like, what is the point of life? And I really felt that way. I really felt like what is the point? And that feeling is so powerful. And I have felt that feeling so many times in life. And just kind of coming back to it over and over, I just got to a point that I'm like, I don't want to feel like this ever again. Like I don't want to have this feeling that I'm not worth anything, that life is not worth anything, that I'm not good enough, that I'm not lovable, that I don't even know how to love myself. Like I mean, I'm piling it all in sort of like a 20 or 30-minute podcast or whatever I'm going to be talking about, but it's really, these emotions are really overpowering and can feel consuming. And I know that because I was there and it felt true. It felt true. So today, I want to talk to anybody who's ever felt like that, who's ever felt the truth of I'm alone, right? Or the truth of what's the point? Or the truth of I'm never going to be happy, or the truth of what's wrong with me. Like, and I say truth loosely in the fact that it feels true. It feels true. But what I have worked towards, because it does take work, because what happens is that truth has been formed over years and years and years. So how does it become, how do you prove something else, right? You have no proof of anything else. So if you have no proof of anything else, then that feels true. So when you're in these really deep, dark places that feel true, how do you pull yourself out? So I wanted to, and on YouTube right now, if you're watching the video, I'm showing a journal that was actually purchased for me by my ex-husband. And I have a lot of journals, but this one specifically I wanted to pull out because this is the one that I started the process of loving myself. And I thought it was ironic that it came from the person who I felt at the time, you know, I was utterly sort of destroyed by. But that's not true. That was just what I told myself. It was obviously a dual, decision. Um, but this was a time in my life where I actually was able to stand on my own 2 feet when I never thought I could. So and I thought about that and it's like so funny that this is the journal where I started to love myself. Um, and I wanted to read a couple of things from here because you can't just think that that's going to happen. Like, that saying, like, time heals all, what is it? Time heals all wounds, or what's the saying? Is that the saying? Everything passes. Why can't I think of this? Wow, I'm so good with words sometimes, and then other times I just completely demolish the easiest sayings. And there's a ton of people listening right now, like saying the saying that I can't think of. This too shall pass. That was one of the ones. Um, it's just like I never found that to be super helpful because like this too shall pass, but if you don't do anything to help heal in the time that passes, you're gonna break in the same way again. So, like, every time I was breaking, I kept breaking in the same way where it was like I felt abandoned and alone and not lovable, and my life was over. And I'm like, it didn't matter what sort of the thing was that was happening, but I just kept getting to the same place where I don't ever want to, and I never will be again. I will never be in that place again because I have created a home within myself. I my I know that no other person is going to be able to fill that cup. I have to fill that cup. And this too shall pass did not help me. That didn't help me. I mean, if you just let time pass, time will pass and whatever happens, happens. So this is one of the processes that helped me sort of come up with I'm like fighting tears back this whole time, just, Doing a really good job of not like crying. And but I want to cry because I'm just so proud of myself. It's not because I'm sad. It's because I'm so proud of myself for everything I've done. And I wanted to share with you because I share with you guys things that work. And this too shall pass never worked. And this is part of how I came up with live with intention because I saw and felt how my life transformed because I decided how I was going to live my day. I decided how I was going to speak to myself. I didn't wait till someone told me what I was worth. I decided what I was worth. And it only was with literally relentless, uh, pushing through another path did I create another possibility for how I could feel. And when I do break again, which let's be real, I will, right? Like life happens. We lose people. We things happen unexpectedly. Like you will break, but you don't have to fall apart. And so like I was tired of falling apart and feeling like everything was over because it wasn't. It's just I was walking earlier and I got my whatever, these are irrelevant details, but I was out earlier and I don't know if you've ever walked in the city and you feel like a little uh well, if you don't live in the city or you're not in a city, you might not know this reference. But if you're ever walking in a city, specifically New York, um, you sometimes you'll feel, especially in the summer, you'll feel like the tiniest little like cold drop out of nowhere, and you like look up and it's like obviously not raining, and you realize it's probably from someone's air conditioner like across the street, and somehow it just like landed on you. And I was thinking like that's the size of the events in most of our life that we feel are life ending, like the actual impact in the sense of like the universe, right? And even not even the universe, forget the universe, in the scope of our lives, even the biggest things are sort of like the smallest drop in the bucket. Now of course there are things that are way bigger than that, but even the ones that are way bigger than that, it's just like I like to zoom out. Zooming out helps me feel better, where I'm just like, this is just all part of something that I will never understand. And to put so much importance on something that I don't even understand to begin with is sort of futile, if that's the word. It feels like the word. Pointless, So back to the journal. So I don't know. I haven't like pre-screened this before I go, but I'm just gonna so what I'm about to read to you are words, and this is just one journal of many. Over the course of probably 2 years, and this is just what was written. I also used to say stuff out loud. So what I'm reading and what I'm showing you the power of today are mantras. And how do you create a mantra, and how uh how to actually, because before I started doing it, it was just another one of those foo-foo, like what mantra, what? No, I'm not doing that. But it's funny when you get to a point that you're literally grasping at air, and like you're just like, I need something, like what can I do? Um and there are two things. There was one thing that I always go to, which is super cliche, but when shit is hitting the fan, God is the first thing, and I'm just like, I have when I was younger, I had a very um I had a very tough time when I was around 14. I don't know if I should go into the whole story right now out of privacy and respect. Um, but I had a very hard time. Drugs were a big part of my childhood, and my house, long story short, my house got raided. And my life was falling apart at the age of 14. Even before that, this was sort of like, and this is like after I had an aortic aneurysm. This was after a very just I mean, up until the age of 14, I had already been through multiple significant events that were life altering, changing. So when that happened at 14, I was so lost that I was either going to start doing drugs and become just a degenerate and end up in jail, or I was going to go to God. And I had this woman who I think she was a friend of my mom's. I don't even know. Her name was Mimi. And she picked me up from home on Wednesday nights, and we would go to a youth group. And it was one of the best years of my life. And ever since then, just the positivity of that experience and like the peace that I felt with like I don't have to do anything here. I could just surrender, like I could just surrender. And it was obviously the first time I had had that experience, and so many people that were just praying for me and supporting me and loving me. And so I had such a great experience sort of with God in that time of my life. And so anytime I've had sort of a big issue or something I've had to get through, that's sort of my first line of defense. I'm like, all right, God, calling you in. You calling in the big guns. Um, but I also am a person of I have power too. Like I have power, God is within us all, right? Like we are connected to something bigger. That's what I believe, right? We are connected to something much bigger. So then I have that power. And that's for me a mantra is it's a it's just a use of the power that you already have. It's not something outside of you. It's not something you need to like learn. It's not something that you need to go to school for. It is a power you have at any time. It's like an untapped resource, this power that we have to to drastically change things in our life, to put ourselves on a different path, to not fall apart when we break, but to just break and then build into something better. So that is what I want to share with you a little bit today of how I did that, because a lot of people don't know what to do with mantras. And so one of the first tips I'll give you and one of the first steps is whatever it is you want to do or be, speak it as if it already is. So what I used to train people when I first started doing this, I started doing this with my clients too, because I felt that it was working for me. So I would tell people like, so people would say to me that like they really want to get outside more and they want to like move more um and but they're not a run. People would say like I get this from people, and I say it a lot in my life too, like I'm not a runner. I'm not a runner. I'm just not a runner. But if you want to be, the best route to become a runner is to say I'm a runner. And the very cool thing about mantras and speaking things into existence before they exist is that you then, and that's another reason why I wanted to read some of this stuff, because this is 2 years ago and some of this stuff has come true. And I only believe because I spoke it into existence. Because I easily could have spoke something else into existence. And that's the like you are saying mantras whether you know it or not. Like you saying I hate my job every day is a mantra. You saying I'm fat every day is a mantra. You saying I need to lose weight every day is a mantra. You saying I hate my life every day is a mantra. Like all negative things that you say regularly are also mantras. There is so much power there. And that is the power. Like we need to, mantras need, you want them to build something better. So how do you do that? Start with what you want. Don't be scared of saying what you want. There's no mantra police. Don't be scared of saying what you want to be, how you want to feel. I think that's the first like, light bulb is when I was doing this, I was kind of holding back. It was like, I felt like I was like asking for a lot, like, or saying a lot. There is no limit. If you want something, say it. And so like let me get into this before this keeps going on because this all I'm gonna be talking about this all month, so I may have another episode with a journal. All right, so let's go uh here. Um so the beginning of this journal, the first page, it's all grateful for statements. So being grateful for something that's a great way to create a mantra. So this says grateful for the chance to start again. That's one of my favorites. That's a every day. Everybody, every time. It's like, I'm so grateful for the chance to start again. That's what it says here first. Grateful for my dogs. And I wrote something positive here. There's a video and I was watching a lot of positive mindset like videos. And there was, what's his name? Jimmy, his last name starts with a V. And he has this sort of viral video. He's passed away now. I can't remember his last name. I believe he's Italian. And he's describing like the best day you can have. And if he's like, if you've laughed, he's like, for the great, if I want to have a great day, I have to at least laugh once. I have to think and I have to cry. If you did all three things, those three things, you have a great day. And my dogs are freaking out on my podcast. Okay, that's what happens when you just leave your door open and record a podcast. Am I recording this? I am. Well, good. I'm grateful that I'm recording, even if you hear my dogs barking. Um, and that really helped me because I just never felt after that point, I didn't feel bad about crying. Because it was just like it's like the human experience. Like, how lucky are we to do all three of those things in one day? So, anyway, I was writing like positive things down that I learned or heard in the day. All right, next. My dogs are still barking. Okay. Hi, mental health awareness is important. Okay, they've stopped. All right. Let's see. Next page. Grateful for friendship, my home, my dogs, FLK method. Positive, Stuart Scott, never ever give up. Pursuing something better. My journaling is very like, next page. I am going to be happy and fulfilled. I will attract those who are inspired and who are inspiring. I'm making something positive out of tragedy. Okay, love it. If you This is like, again, the way that I write journaling is very chaotic. If you don't program your mind will be programmed. Ooh, that's good. That's good. And this is what mantras are about. Like that in and of itself is a mantra. I deserve to be loved. Calmness is confidence. FLK method is growing. I have confidence in myself and my relationships. I practice meditation daily. Water intake is a priority. Plan to win. Grateful for my success. Grateful for my dedication. Grateful for my growth. Like I'm writing these things down and I did not feel like I felt them at the time, but it was so hard for me to dig and find that. Look at this one. Good things are supposed to happen to me. FLK method is growing. At the time, it was not. At the time, it was actually, this was March in 2022. From December of 21 to March of 22 was the most rapid decline of FLK method because everything was opening back up. And my business was built during COVID. And so I'm writing FLK method is growing. It wasn't growing. It was not growing. And now I am 4 times the size of 2022 in terms of membership. Water is essential for my life. That's Krys. That's not a mantra. That's a fact. I had to remind me the water is so hard for me, so I included it in here. I eat for energy. This is when I was like in my emotional eating phase, and I wanted to get out of that. So I would have the mantra of I eat for energy. I eat for fuel because I needed to tell myself that because the food I was eating was literally taking away my energy and I needed all the energy that I could get. Discipline is a major force in my life. It's okay to fail. Failure comes before success. Anything worth doing is worth doing badly until you get it right. Ooh, I don't know who said that and where I got it from, but let me read it again. It's okay to fail. Failure comes before success. Anything worth doing is worth doing badly until you get it right. Oh, so good. Oh, on my birthday, I put my awesome birthday. Feel so grateful to have so much love in my life. That's so nice. I don't know why I can't even read my writing there. This page just said, wow, look at this. I'm showing the page because it's short and sweet and true even today. I am happy. Life full of love, friends, success, and pain. Life is full. Like it's everything. It's everything. I deserve all, and this is like, I'm still going. I'm still going. Different pages. I deserve all good things that happen. Like, I'm writing this because I don't believe it. And this is the thing that I'm trying to explain to you right now. I was writing these things into existence. Like when if you write, I deserve all good things that happen, that means there's a part of you that doesn't believe you deserve it, right? So like that's almost what a mantra is. A mantra is challenging your default thought. You have a default thought. You know realistically and rationally, and maybe you've even healed to a point that you know that you're worthy, right? You know that you deserve good things. You know that you know that you're human. You know that you deserve grace and forgiveness and you know that, but there's just a little tiny part of you that doubts and then that little tiny part grows into a seed of doubt and doubt turns into sometimes depression and darkness of some sort. And so me writing this stuff was literally keeping myself out of that place. I was speaking this stuff into existence. I deserve all good things that happen. My life is full of blessings. I am fortunate. Good things are supposed to happen to me. FLK method is growing. Do you know I wrote FLK method is growing? I'll probably go through this and count how many times. And I should put a picture of these pages next to the picture of the memberships as it was the fastest decline I've ever seen in the course of 4 months. Half the people canceled because gyms opened back up and people just were done working out at home. And so every day I was writing FLK method is growing. Not only was I writing FLK method is growing, not only was I saying I deserve all good things to happen, not only was I writing down I am fortunate, I was also stepping into that. So mantra, there's a second piece of mantras is like, don't say things and then act in a completely different way. Say the things to set your day up with intention. So I would start my days or end my days like this. So it sort of set me up for this feeling. It kind of like enveloped me in a feeling of gratitude and a feeling of fortunate. So that I just didn't, again, if you don't program your mind will be programmed. This page says a little lonely today. Everything changes. I'm so lucky and grateful for my life and my freedom. That's something I talked about in my last podcast, right? Live each day to the fullest, treat others how I want to be treated. So it's like, it's a little bit of everything today. You can be grateful even when you're feeling lonely. Like you can find happiness or find something positive even when you're not feeling great. It's just a matter of you doing it. Um, Here's another one. Grateful for my home, my dogs, the love I feel inside. I started getting stronger because this is probably like the third month of me doing this. Great, because I started in the new year. Grateful for my home, my dogs, the love I feel inside, the strength I have, the friendships I have. I'm okay with my decisions, finding peace, seeing the signs. This is all, is this work? Like what? Trustworthy. I just have trustworthy underlined. Self-love underlined. Okay, here's now I'm skipping to November of the same year. So there's a few months in here it kind of skips through. I love myself. So I'm still going, right? Like this is going from March is in here, and I probably wrote in some other journals, but still in November of the same year, I'm still saying, look it, I'm gonna show you. Like this is, I love myself. I am strong and worthy of love. I am doing the best I can. When I know better, I will do better. I deserve love, respect, and trust. I am growing and have compassion for my faults. Like this is coming from a place of like blame and thinking that everything's my fault and thinking that I'm, like whatever, just like not forgiving myself for certain things. And this, I had to, I literally had to tell myself this. One page just says, how can I love myself today? Another page is things that fill my cup. You know what the first thing on this list is? Going to get coffee. Oh my God. So listen, I'm not going to read you the whole journal, but I just wanted to illustrate that if you want to get out of a cycle of depression, anxiety, stress, sadness, um, you've got to notice what's happening that's sort of getting you there. What's the root of the issue? My favorite question is why? I ask that question so much now in my own personal life and routine. I'm like, why do I feel that way? Because typically, like the initial, when you react to something or when like you feel something, that's just sort of a default, very human first 90 seconds of what's happening is like a chemical reaction. And then after that initial like minute and a half, how you feel becomes your decision. This is like quoted off some research that I'm so bad with, and this is not the podcast to quote research studies in case you were wondering, and then you're new at this podcast. I just loosely say things that I remember, but I do say things that I have read and that I have that are reputable. So I'm not completely making it up. But I do know that there's a reaction in your body, sort of physical reaction that's a minute, 90 seconds, right? In terms of how you feel, that's based on your past and what your body knows and your triggers, trauma, that kind of thing. After that initial 90 seconds or so, how you feel becomes your choice. So, how do you feel better? And my recommendation is to speak how you want to feel, say how you want to feel, not to other people, to yourself. It's not magic, but it feels like it. When you start to do it regularly, you really experience, and that's really what I was thinking about this month. I'm like, I've hit so many snags, emotionally that would have made me fall apart in the past that I've been able to not even shed a tear about, like just really be able to like stand strong in. And I'm like, wow, I've come so far. And then I started thinking, I worked so hard to come that far. I was writing this stuff every day. Not only was I writing it, I was saying it out loud. I was talking to myself in the mirror. Like I was determined to get out of this cycle of falling apart, of hurting people because I was hurt. It was like the whole hurt people, hurt people. I'm like, I don't want to be like this anymore. Like there has to be a better way. And I will tell you that it's an ongoing process because whatever your default things are and your way of thinking is, it's probably been there for a long time. So this goes back to that quote, like even if the mantra feels odd, or even if it feels like it doesn't work, or even if like if the potential is that you can change your life and have whatever it is you want, feel however it is you want to feel, if that's a possible outcome, isn't it worth the being uncomfortable? Like that the quote I was saying earlier about like if it's something worth doing, it's worth doing like poorly. It's worth messing up. It's worth being bad at it until you're good at it. So like the potential of feeling peace, just like at peace, not like at war with yourself or other people. I mean, that's the holy grail, right? Like that's where I'm headed, and that's what I want. Just want to feel like okay. I'm not trying to feel like jumping for joy on a roller coaster. I'm just trying to feel like okay. And I mean, and honestly, like probably feel like jumping for joy roller coaster uh a lot of the times. And I feel okay a lot of the times. And I still feel those other things too, but I can quickly pull myself out of it because of practice and because of it's like one day, if you've never done a push-up before and you try, you might fall flat on your face. But if you never try again, you're never going to build the strength to do a push-up. If you do a push-up in 2001 and fall flat on your face, and then 2010 comes around and you try to do a push-up again, what do you think's going to happen? You're going to fall on your face again. And this is life, and this is hardship because everything is cyclical. So we go through tough seasons. We go through hard things. So if you go through something hard and you sort of grit your way through it and you don't actually address sort of an issue, when you get to something difficult again, you're going to deal with it the same way. But for me, that wasn't okay. For me, I wanted a different way. I wanted, and I still want, I accept things how they are. And that's a mantra. So like I say things before they're true. Even if it feels weird, even if it sounds odd, the an example that I give a lot in my inner circle program, because we talk about stuff like this from time to time, and my most common example I give is this year, and around the same time, I used to say I love myself thousands of times a week out loud because I really didn't think that I did. It's like, like when you know, and I was like, I don't know, so I must not, right? Like I was like, I don't know. I just don't know. And I just would say it to myself thousands of times. And now I do believe that I deserve to be happy and that I deserve to be loved. And I actually really believe that. I now really truly believe that. And part of the reason I really truly believe that is because I did so much work. And that's also what work does, like when you're used to like working so hard, you feel like, like you have to work hard to get things. And there's pros and cons to that, but the pro to that is it's like a yoga practice. If you just show up to a yoga practice, right? Like you wake up in the morning, picture this. You wake up in the morning, you have coffee, you're starting your day, you have energy, and you go to a yoga class and you get to the yoga class and the instructor tells you to go into shavasana and you just stay there and you do nothing else. Some of you might be like, "Oh, that's my dream." But for me on a Saturday morning, like, and I have coffee, like I have energy, I want to move a little bit, right? And and when you're laying there, you might feel like a little agitated because you're ready to do something. You haven't done anything, right? You're just like laying there. Whereas if you go to the yoga practice and you do like a really awesome hard yoga class, when you get to shavasana, you can fully appreciate, you can fully surrender, you can fully let go because you've sort of worked to get there. And there's a value in work because I think that I mean, work is life, right? Like our work sort of affects the world around us. So this sense of entitlement that a lot of people have out here, it doesn't just come to you. This too shall pass. It will pass, but don't think something different is coming if you're not doing anything about it. If you're not putting any work in, well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. So I'm opening up my planner again to see what I want to. Oh, I'll end with this. Accept the present and move forward. Oh, this was good. This was accept the present and move forward. And then I just wrote a bunch of I am mantras. I am mantras are some of my favorite mantras. I am kind. I am generous. I am thoughtful. I am funny. I am beautiful. I am smart. I am loyal. I am honest. I am here. So feel free to steal any of those because they're applicable to you too. And if ever you're doubting yourself or you're thinking you're dumb or not worth it or ugly or any of these negative, awful things we think about ourselves, just I am statements. I am kind. I am generous. I am thoughtful. I am funny. I am loyal. Like, what would your best friend in the world say about you? You know? And that's you got to be your own best friend. And tell yourself how you want to feel. You know, like don't just let your default emotions and feelings take a hold of you and kind of throw you for a loop, especially if you don't like how you feel. Mantras are you could have even another name for it. You don't even have to call it a mantra. It's just you creating a new path for yourself. It's like whatever you're tired of, you have the power to change it through your words, through your thoughts, through your actions. Those things are all connected, and words are powerful. And you know how powerful they are because when you're talking negatively to yourself, right? Or when you're in a bad place, it feels real, feels like the truth, feels like there is no other option. That's powerful because it's not true, but it feels true. The same power exists on the other end of the spectrum. So, if anything, mantras can help to bring some balance, like, so it's not always that, right? Like, mantras can help bring a little bit of balance. That's what it did for me at first. Like, at first, it wasn't what it is now. What it is now is really more at the end of the spectrum of I really feel all that stuff, truly. But as I was getting there, it was more of a balance. It was like it was keeping the dark from going to the depths of where it typically went to. It was keeping some light in the dark. That's what mantras helped me do. So this is for anybody who's ever struggled with, feeling worthless. And please know that you're not. That's never the truth. It's just, I think it's a very human thing to feel at times, especially when we fail. But failure is literally it's just like it's an instance, it's a piece of life, and it's something that we label ourselves with, and it's just a part of life. I mean, you don't have to call it anything, it doesn't even need a label. I mean, it's just a part of the human experience, and we all have all of those things. Um, so you are worth the same as, we're all worth the same. There's no high, low. We're all sort of on the same human plane. We all are worthy of love and respect, and most of all, love and respect from ourselves to ourselves. It starts there. So I hope this was helpful. And Be kind to yourself. And if it's really hard for you to do that, this is how you start. You just write it down. Take a moment, grab a piece of paper, and write down a bunch of stuff that you want to feel, that you want to happen, that you want, like, and don't limit yourself. Don't limit yourself. Let magnify the mantra by repeating it. Like whatever you say over and over starts to become true. So also just take an audit, maybe this week, pay attention to what you're saying. What's your mantra? Because remember, even if you eat whatever you're saying repeatedly is a mantra. So is what you're saying repeatedly what you want? Write down things that you want to feel about yourself and others. Write down things that you want to experience in your life and in the world around you. Repeat those, say those, write them down. And it's going to feel weird at first if you've never done it. But on the other end of that, it's so worth it. It is so worth it to not have to be in that space of hopelessness, worthlessness, right? Devastation. You can get yourself out of there. You don't have to ever go back to those places. You have to strengthen your mind. That's what mantras can do. They strengthen your mind. And this is not foo-foo. There's literally scientific evidence that exists. So this is not just like an idea. This is something that I'm coming to you with my own proof. Forget the other studies that exist. Anything that I do is as a result of I did it and it worked for me. And I was a whole hot mess with a capital H and M. All right. So if I could do it, trust me, you trust me that you can too. Thanks for listening. I'll see you next time.